leadership is not about making speeches or being liked. Leadership is defined by results, not attributes. And as I begin with this quote from Peter Drucker, I must extend a very warm welcome to all our viewers right here at the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories. So with me, Isha Phalla, let's get this very interesting conversation started with our special guest, Mr. Sudesh Puthran, Chief Technology Officer, Credit Access Grameen Limited, who comes with an experience of over 25 years in the IT industry. He has in the past worked with Aditya Birla Group as CTO, also worked with HDFC Bank as Executive Vice President, and he was also the head of digital technology and innovation. Along with that, he also had a stint at CIBIL as CIO since its inception and was instrumental in building the first and the largest credit bureau in the country. So, we have a lot to learn from him. So let me extend a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Sudesh Puthran. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Isha. My pleasure.
I'm sure that our viewers will have so many takeaways from this very interesting conversation today. So let me begin by asking you what your foundation years were like and what is it from your growing up years that you'd like to share with us?
So my foundation years was very normal as such, nothing very different as a normal child. I grew up. My impression, my mentors then were my parents as a child. Both my father and mother, and through them I learned a lot of things related to being disciplined, showing up on time, putting hard work, and that was very critical for my foundation years to start with. My father has been a great inspiration for me because he moved to the city when he was just 8 years old. He slept in offices, went to night schools, and finally graduated from one of the premium institutes in Mumbai. My mother was a school teacher, and I don't remember her taking a day off. So that really inculcated the whole attitude of just showing up at work, whatever be it, right? And it's not for yourself. It's actually for your team. It's for your bosses. It's for your colleagues, so that they are enabled, supported by you. So always put the interest of others than yourself. So those were the foundation years, which was very inspirational, and that remained with me throughout my growing up period.
So valuing time, making sure that you believe in hard work, and just the way your parents led by example, you today are leading your team by example. And here I'd like to ask you, how is it that you inculcate creative thinking within your organization? How is it that your team members keep coming up with new ideas?
So this is again a very fundamental thought process, which came about during my spiritual growing years. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it says there is nothing called as problem doesn't exist. It's just your inability to solve the problem situation. So as you go about in life, you face with situations. When you act, you face with situations. When you're able to resolve it, you feel fulfilling and successful. But if you're not able to face a situation, it becomes a problem. So fundamentally, there's nothing called as a problem that exists. It's just your inability to think through it differently. So throughout my career, right from the first job that I took up, which was for the first time where we were building an automated stock exchange, or with CIBIL where we were trying to build a credit bureau where there were no identifiers then, right? Today we have an Aadhaar card, you have many other things. So life has been full of challenges, and it was always flowing against the tide. And that is the whole memento of keeping that thought behind us. It is just your inability to think differently that exists, right? So as such, there is no problem. The problem doesn't exist. It's your inability to think. And the moment you start looking at saying, if it was not you, but somebody else, how he would have looked at the situation differently. So once you start looking from that thought process, you are able to find a solution for sure.
Right. So life will always have these challenges, like you said, for you, but you are the one who need to find the perfect solution.
Absolutely. And the solution lies within you, right? It doesn't lie anywhere else. So as such, there is no problem. It's just the situations that typically you face. You need to look at the situation differently from different frames and lenses, and you will find a solution out.
How very beautifully put by you there. And this is actually what makes me ask this next question, that the last 2 years have been very, very challenging for all industries, for people all across. So, how has your approach towards life, towards work, towards family and community overall changed?
So last 2 years basically helped us get grounded, because I think living in cities, getting into a lot of a private job, you tend to just focus on work, and there are a lot of things that you tend to ignore or not become a priority. That is your family and how people feel about things around you. So the last 2 years actually helped me get grounded, connect with my family, connect with people, and finally, at the end of the day, we all realize it's not about the money that brings success. It's about, it's just small happiness, joy that you get from connecting with people around you. So tough times, but I think it helped me connect with people better, look at life very differently from a different perspective. And that was really an enriching experience for me the last 2 years.
Right. So a lot to learn from what has happened in the last couple of years. And, you spoke about how that connect with people is so very important. And we completely agree. In fact, when we talk about teams, we feel that teamwork can really bring so much on the table. So I'd like to ask you, how is it that you keep your team motivated, and how is it that you inspire them?
So this was again one of my mentors early, when my early career was growing up and shaped up. I had a lot of I was lucky to basically work with good leaders who are really my role models. And there is one thing that really stuck in my mind: take care of the people, people will take care of the work. And that has been the mantra throughout my last 25 years of my career. So we just need to enable them, skill them, encourage them, inspire them, I think, and connect with the overall business objective. If you're able to connect the story as to how their efforts will finally help the business grow, they feel more inspired and motivated to come. And finally, it's about my boss today, where I'm working with Credit Access. He says to me all the time, Sudesh, take actions. Don't worry. All the failures are in my name. All the successes are yours. So that gives you a lot of confidence, to do the right things, and immense responsibility on yourself to help the company grow.
You
So that's the
spoke
same
so much
mantra.
about, I think it's so wonderful how you're quoting these examples that your role models and your boss have sort of laid out and made sure that they're there for you, making it really seem like a beautiful moment of growth for you. So here, if I was to ask you that what is that, or who would those two people be who really mentored you? So who would you like to give credit there?
Sure. So at a personal level, it's my parents, basically, who shaped up, as I said earlier. Professionally, I have been really lucky in getting very good bosses, right? Who really mentored me, coached me, as well as I've got a good share of bosses who kept challenging me. And that was also essentially important. But the people who trusted, who helped me grow as a leader, one was Mr. Ravi Mohan in the beginning years when he was a CMD of Whistle and Oats Exchange, and my current boss, who's Uday, as I just spoke about. He's a tremendous boss. He has so much trust on you, and he believes in the simple philosophy that every person is a nice person. Everybody wants to succeed. So we just need to enable them to work in their own, frame and sphere. So that was very inspiring. It was very inspiring because he used to always keep saying that don't worry about taking decisions, about actions. All the failures that you face will be mine, and all the success is yours. It gives you tremendous, infinite freedom and energy to move forward in life.
So trusting your team, giving your team the right kind of freedom they need. And at this point, there are so many viewers who are watching this show. And if we were to ask any one of them to join our team, what would those couple of attributes be that you definitely look into before hiring?
So I think more than a skill, I look at the attitude. Attitude to accomplish, the fire in the belly, inquisitiveness, good communication, working as a team rather than as an individual contributor. I think these are the main attributes. So it's more of an attitude, a positive attitude, a can-do attitude, a fire in the belly. all those are very, very critical. Because rest can follow. You can always kill a person, you can always train a person. But if you have this in the person, I think anything can be achieved.
Right. And if I was to ask you, with so many youth watching this show, what is that one message that you'd like to give them, that this is the way you should move on in life, and this is the way that can almost guarantee success?
I think the most important mantra is perseverance, just staying where you need to be, because I think the new youth basically that we are talking about are highly impatient. Unfortunately, that's where we lose out, because what is important is being very strong, just be on the job, and things will happen. Like for instance, when in my civil days, right, credit bureau days, we were the first credit bureau. For almost 2-3 years, we didn't have any business coming, right? But we knew for sure that it's going to be successful one day, and we are now one of the biggest credit bureaus in India. So just staying there and just making sure that you're doing the right things will get you there. And ready to be agile, ready to be, ready to face challenges. Again, just to quote one of my other mantras, was a short lesson that I learned from my spiritual leader. So I was just conversing with her after a long trek, and she just made a statement saying that the lighter the load you have on your shoulders, the higher you go. So in your trek, if you have a lighter hiking pack, you're able to climb higher, right? So that's actually the very strong message that I could relate to my corporate life, right? So if you're able to remove the clutter, think with clarity, right? Have a flat team, not a very hierarchical team where you need to carry a lot of load on your back. You are able to communicate the message faster. You have a very agile team who can react things faster. And that's how I was able to correlate and map a lot of these messages into my day-to-day corporate life.
And you've stated some fantastic traits that one must really have to grow. And if I was to ask you, what is that one, or maybe if you can list 2 behaviors that you feel really does derail a leader's career and takes them off the map?
I think the patience, a lot of times you tend to get patient. I've seen a lot of people ruin their career because of certain situations that they come about, a bad boss, or an inability to, find solutions, which basically they take rash decisions. It's very important to stay patient and always work saying that today is going to be a tough day, but tomorrow might not be, right? There's always a hope, and there is definitely a reason for you to continue rather than just give up so soon. So a lot of patience is one of the attributes, being patient, being positive, because obviously life is not going to be easy. You'll always face challenges along the way. The idea is to just be there, just be patient and just look at life in a very positive way. And definitely there's a solution.
You spoke so very well about points that makes sure that as a leader you grow. But if I was to ask you, what is it, or what is that one mantra that you follow in your personal space that really does make life meaningful for you?
I think the whole thing is that whatever you do, you try to see not about finding an activity getting completed. Is that particular activity helping someone? I'll give you another example. So when we built the first credit bureau and it became quite successful, the only time I felt fulfilled was when my daughter, who's in 9th grade, she had a financial literacy lecture in a school. And that's the time, in one of the questions that she had to answer as an MCQ, saying that, what is a civil report? So that's the time I was able to relate my efforts to something that could be connected, where people could recognize. I'll tell you, that was the most fulfilling moment, because it's not about you creating the first biggest credit bureau. It's about people seeing the value of it.
Thank you so much for sharing that anecdote with us. And it's so nice to know that, at this point, I'd also like to ask you, and now that, you spoke about your daughter, so I'd love for you to share with us one element that you love spending time with her when you're not working, or what is that special bond that you have with your family, your daughter especially?
Well, As a daughter, I'm like a father to her. As a friend, more than a daughter, because nowadays you don't have that father-daughter relationship because she's the next generation, generation Z. So it's more of a friendly relationship. It's all about mentoring her, then telling her what to do, because those are the times where, because the children now have a lot of information around them, so they know exactly what they need to do about it. It's just about providing a guidance
Right.
about what they should be looking at, rather than giving prescriptive consulting, saying they do this or do that. So it's fun. It's fun. She's like a very good friend of mine.
Well, that's exactly the sort of relationship that one must share with their parents. Like, you started the show on sharing things that you've learned from your parents. I'm sure a few years down the line, she'll be talking about you on a show like this. So thank you so very much for sharing with us such beautiful moments from your life, both as a leader and on the personal front. And this is where I'd like to open this session into a rapid fire and ask you some very easy questions. So are you ready to dive in?
All set to go, Isha.
Okay, let's get this. And the first question, work or play?
Both.
Love or friendship?
Both.
Money or happiness?
Happiness.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Mornings or evenings?
Both.
Formal or casual?
Casual.
In-person meeting or Zoom connects?
In-person meeting always.
All right. And what's your favorite? Will it be a big glass of lassi or will it be our cutting chai first thing in the morning?
Cutting chai always. Which
I'm so glad you answered that. And I look forward to an opportunity to meet you in person and have some nice cutting chai over conversations like these. Thank you so very
Thank
much.
you.
It's been such a pleasure knowing you and having you here on the show. And a big thank you to all our viewers for watching. I'm sure all of you had a lot of insightful points to learn from and take a lead in your life as well. So thank you so very much for being a part of this spectacular show.